Why March was a bad month for housing starts and why it might happen again. This is why it's important for you to know what happened with housing starts in 2023 of March, so you can prepare yourself for what's coming in the future. If you're ever curious to know what your home is worth or what's happening in the Niagara real estate market, contact Davids DeLaat, and we're always happy to help. Let's get into this video. So in 2022, across Canada, there was about 240,000 housing starts. And if we look back to 2021, there was about 244 housing starts. So already in 2022, we were 1% down from 2021. We were anticipating great gains come 2023, but as indicated by CTV News and this news report, that 2023 of March housing starts are down. And why is that? Well, the big thing is that's because of interest rates. All right. And what interest rates have done is two factors. Number one, it's cost builders more to build homes due to the interest rates, therefore slowing the amount of homes they're building. But not only that, it's curbed the demand of buyers. So if we look back to the height of the market in 2020 during COVID, new construction was flying off the shelves. The builders couldn't build it fast enough. And that's because the interest rates were really low and you had a number of investors, prospectors buying these properties. Well, now with the building costs going up and interest rates going up and costing the general public buyer more to buy the home and therefore not being able to cover the rents, it's really curbed buyers from looking at new construction. Builders depend on the rates to be lower to move more product. So they're not jumping out of the gates to throw up a ton of condo towers or a ton of homes right at this time, only because the demand for purchase isn't quite there. But the demand is coming. But one thing I want to also discuss here is the word affordability, okay? And I think it's used very loosely in the sense that affordability can be misconstrued as that builders are going to build cheap housing, $500,000 for the young Canadian can buy a house. And that's not the case. I'm going to be straight up with you right now. Affordability for the young Canadian or the general Canadian altogether is going to become more challenging and challenging and challenging. Partly because of immigration and the number of people coming to our country. Number two, the cost of the lands the builders have to pay, plus the cost it costs them to build the new house. So if you think a builder is going to build a house for $500,000, it's just not going to happen. All right. And then when we talk about these housing starts, one thing to point out is single detached housing is at an all-time low. And I'm going to tell you why that is. That's because the municipalities, the cities, they want high density. And I'm going to use St. Catharines as an example. All right. St. Catharines is landlocked. We do not have any large areas of land left to build or develop for detached housing. So the city of St. Catharines has mandated that we go to high density being condo towers and high density being townhouses. And there's a lot of infill properties that you can build condo towers as well as get in townhouse development units. So this high density is more also for the amount of people moving to our country and that we need homes. But more importantly, to go back to what you need to know about the 2023 slow start is that we need housing. We need housing for regular people to buy homes, but more importantly, we need affordable housing, okay? So the metric they use to determine new housing starts is the number of new homes being built, the number of shovels that are hitting the ground. And that is either single family detached homes, that's either townhouses, or that's condo towers. So say a condo tower is built, 1,000 units in that tower, that's 1,000 new units being built. More importantly, there's also the multi-residential side, which is what we really need to focus on because that's the affordability aspect. And the multi-residential side is where there's actually units, rental units that become more affordable for immigrants coming to our country and young Canadians. Interest rates are being raised right now because of inflation. And there's a situation going on with this inflation that they're having a real challenge curbing it. You hear last week it was down, this week it's up, and the only way to curb inflation is to raise interest rates. So until inflation gets under control, interest rates will remain high, and we could still see additional interest rate hikes affecting, yet again, new construction starts as well as demand for home buyers. The government and the media can say whatever, but this is the true reality of what's happening. So Mr. Doug Ford has proposed that he'll have 1.5 million units built within Ontario over the next decade, which is great. I promote it. We need it. The other challenge is this, though. Justin Trudeau is going to let in 1 million people a year. So over the next 10 years, that's 10 million people. Majority of those people are going to find home here in Ontario. So in the next decade, if we only have 1.5 million units built, again, housing shortage, affordability issues, and it's going to put us in a giant precarious situation. So reports are saying Canada needs 300,000 new rental units to avoid the gap quadrupling by 2026. This is a huge challenge. And when they talk about 300,000 new rental units, that's the affordable housing aspect. And with that being said, the challenge is that it is very challenging for developers and builders to build affordable housing as far as rental units, partly because of the cost of the land. The governments aren't really giving them any benefits to go ahead and do it. They should be giving them grants. So for them to build these 300,000 additional rental units and then even more beyond that, it is going to be very challenging and again, create affordability issues due to the low supply. So I don't want to be doom and gloom here, but there is things that can be done. And Doug Ford has already acknowledged this through the Build Homes Faster Act. All right. And that is done to speed up the process of home building these affordable units, etc. Part of that entails the municipalities. It is very challenging for builders and developers to deal with the municipalities, get their permits, and get things done quickly. It's very delayed. So everyone from the government to the builders need to work together to resolve these issues. I commend Doug for making the Build Home Faster Act. I think there could be far more done. It's a start. We'll see how it works, but he's also depending on the municipalities across Ontario, such as St. Catharines, Welland, Niagara Falls, to make it easier for these builders to put shovels in the ground. If there continues to be a slowdown in this home building process, the amount of units available to Canada will not be readily available. So a lot of people are turning to real estate as an investment platform more than they ever have in the past. Therefore, investors jump in now, start buying units, because if the slowdown does happen, we'll have a shortage of supply, a continued shortage of supply. And as demand picks up, the values of the properties will raise. So therefore, it's a great time to get in there and invest in real estate, or get out there and get your first home before it's unattainable. Shawn DeLaat here. Really appreciate you tuning into my YouTube station. If you disagree with something you heard, or if you agree with something you heard, please comment below. Would love to hear from you. Would love to hear your perspectives. I'm passionate on this subject. And if you'd like to hear more about my opinions and a little better understanding of the true reality of what's going on behind the scenes, please don't hesitate to subscribe to the station, or even sign up for our newsletter, which can keep you up to date on the Niagara real estate market.